And whose fault is that in this one? We have
Dare I say this name? Nicholas Jackson.
yes, yes. Your reaction.
Is it time? Football is back again for episode 8. Is that correct?
I think that's
8?
we made episode 8. We did.
Episode 8? Damn, it's been a journey so far. I can't lie. It's weird to think we're already at episode 8.
And you know what's funny is that this episode 8 is going to be covering topics we talked about in our first episode of Ted Hangout and Punch Out.
Oh yeah. I mean, this is kind of full circle here, ladies and gentlemen. This is kind of full
uh,
circle. Because today we've actually decided to go for a current topic, which just happened, yesterday and the day before, obviously over the weekend, which is the FA Cup. Gabe is already ready he's red. I see him ready to just get going on this because we have a lot to get off of our chest in reaction, and we have a lot to say about some of the scenes, some of the goals, some of the after match speeches, even like everything involved in this weekend. We
yeah,
have a lot to say. We have a lot that annoyed us. We have a lot that pissed us off,
yeah.
but we have also a lot of positivity. But to start off with the FA Cup weekend, I think it is fair to mention that looking back at Pep's comments about the scheduling for these players and how it's unfair that City had to play 120 minutes on Wednesday evening and then Saturday have to play a semifinal of a cup. We do have to bring that up, I think, because it is a fair point.
Yeah.
I feel like this season I have seen City play twice a week for
Yeah.
at least 4 months.
Yeah, 100%. Well, and it makes sense because all the other competitions they've been like deep into runs are very serious, except for
Mm-hmm.
World Cup. It's the only one. So
Mm-hmm.
no,
Yeah.
it makes sense. I think his criticism is valid, especially because Coventry, Man United, that could have been the game on Saturday, just given like neither of
Yeah.
them are involved in midweek. So I thought no, I think it's a completely fair criticism. The only thing I will say, it's a bit rich coming from Pep, just because Man City have so much squad depth. They have a lot of squad depth.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's a very debatable topic. I
Right.
do think it's gotten out of hand at this point with some of the tournaments and the amount and the fact that they're adding matches even
Right.
at this point, and also adding matches, for example, with La Liga or the Copa del Rey,
Yeah.
who do their stuff abroad ever so often.
Yeah.
It's just too tiring for the players. But then there's the other end where you know Pep has such a deep squad, such a big youth, and this is what you have to expect when you're going into long, deep runs in tournaments.
Right.
Your players are going to get tired because you're playing more games than everybody else.
Definitely, especially given that Man City are going for trouble. Like they knew what they signed up.
Yeah, they
So
knew what they said. They did it last year,
yeah.
and he didn't complain. I mean, he probably did, for what we know. I mean, Klopp's been complaining about it for years,
Right.
So yeah, just to get that off our chest first,
Right.
I think we both agree with the comments, but there is a certain hypocrisy to
Definitely
it.
agree.
So now that we've talked about that, gotten that out of the way because that was a big talking point, I think it's time to tackle the big issue at hand, which happened yesterday, which is this absolutely ballistic semi-final between United and Coventry.
Wow, absolutely. Can I take 1 second before, because we know a lot of this is going to center on United. I would
obviously it will.
for understandable reasons. I would like to take a moment to praise Coventry because if you remember months ago when we recorded about our episode of who's going to get in the promotion playoffs, I went from Coventry vouched for Norwich. Norwich looks like they're going to go up, so congrats on your prediction. And they deserve it in the end. They've been more consistent than Coventry. But I did say Coventry really overachieved. And this was demonstrated, I think, they bought a lot of their recent losses, like to Birmingham and stuff, to cost them playoffs. But they beat Leeds. That ended Leeds' unbeaten run. So that shows kind of their overachievement. They've beaten Leicester this season. But also in the FA Cup, we saw the glimpse of it in their comeback against Wolves. And now we just saw how well they played against United. So we're going to be roasting a lot of United. We understand. It's very merited. It's going to be nothing new compared to other podcasts.
I mean, to get going, I find that to counteract your point about Coventry, I find that they did not play the greatest game. People are giving them, I find, a lot more credit than they do deserve, because the first half there was not much going on for them.
No, I agree. But that's what, they went to a back five.
Yeah. But this is playing devil's advocate here. In my honest opinion, I think coming back from 3-0 down, if you're a championship side against a team at the moment not at the top of their level, but a historic team like Manchester United, you've got to have something going for you.
Definitely. And I think you're spot on. Like, the first half was very disappointing by them. But again, massive credit no matter what, like 3-0 down in the last 20 minutes. And then extra time they played better. And we're going to touch on this.
Extra time they definitely played better.
Fantastic.
I mean, they had the disallowed goal, which is by inches.
It's heartbreaking. It's actually heartbreaking.
I mean, I saw a meme today where like some dude on X or Twitter, whatever you call it these days, is just like, the linesman could have easily given that onside for a kebab or something like that. It was some ridiculous thing like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like looking at it, and I'm like, I mean, lad's got a point. It's so close.
It's so close. Look, is it offside? Yes, I do think it is, but it's
no. I mean, if the technology says it, I'm not a big fan of VAR, but if in this case the technology says it, then so be it.
It's just the cruelest of fashions, I think. But look, in the end, you can't deny what the technology said. I do agree with it. And especially it's going to be more confirmed next season when there's semi-automated technology.
Yes, exactly.
Instead of those like stupid lines being drawn every 5 seconds.
Yeah. Those like kindergarten lines.
But anyway, look, and the final point on Coventry, very, very impressed with them. Very determined. Mark Robbins, fantastic manager, the way he maximized those players. They can leave with nothing but their heads up high. Fantastic effort. Well done the extra time. Just very smart play when they were like feeding out into the wings. And shout out to the players, of course, Haji Wright, Callum O'Hare, Ellis Sims, those are the three main ones. But also, I felt so bad for their captain, Sheaf, because he actually had a really good game, and then he blasted the penalty.
Yeah, he absolutely annihilated that penalty.
Yeah, it's a shame, but look, massive credit to Coventry. I've been rooting for them this whole season. Massive.
Yeah, so. Fair points to you for rooting for Coventry. I mean, sadly for you, not sadly for me.
I know
they've kind of gone out of the race for promotion at this point. I think
it's gonna be Norwich. It's gonna be Norwich.
Yeah, I expect Norwich will maintain that. But they've impressed in this FA Cup run for sure, and there's nothing but respect for this team. This game sums up their mentality. It sums up their capability to turn things around, even against big teams. Yeah. And the penalties, Callum O'Hare, I think, missed the first one, right?
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. Onana saved that, and then Sheaf sadly skied it, which it happens ever so often.
Exactly.
I mean, for me, I always found that if you don't hit the target on a penalty, it's very disappointing.
Yeah, that's
so.
I think in the end, it's like O'Hare missing is one thing because actually, like, he tries to go bottom corner and Onana makes the save.
Yeah, he's trying to go bomb quarter. Keeper makes a good save, so so be it. You can still have a bit of dignity with that.
Yeah,
whereas if you blast it over like that, you're in for a rough evening. Let's just put it that way, and a rough morning the next day.
I felt so bad. We had a really good game, and he really he was crying at the end of it. Like, he was an amazing captain. He was so good. So, but on to
let's try to. we gave our bravos, we gave our everything. Now, I mean, what Ten Hag said after the game. I mean, I can see where he's coming from. With the yes, you got to celebrate the achievement no matter what. Fair enough. You're in the FA Cup final. But it just rubs me the wrong way. I don't know what it is about it.
I think I've seen this from many fans also who've said, like, there's a thing where it's not mutually exclusive. It's not like, oh, this is either a great achievement or an embarrassment. No, it can be both. You both made an FA Cup final. Celebrate that. But also it's extremely embarrassing in the fashion. Because for all we praise Coventry, to bottle a 3-0 lead in 20 minutes is disgraceful.
Especially the way they were playing in the first half.
Yeah, they were comfortable. And it's just like, and we're going to touch on, look, we're going to have our criticism of Ten Hag. You brought him in. We're going to criticize him a lot. But candidly for me, Ten Hag deserves a lot of blame, and we'll go into more later on. But I'm putting more of the blame on this game to the players. Because
I agree, 100%.
3-0 up. And again, Ten Hag, he made stupid substitutions, I think, also. But the players he brought on are experienced, and just the lack of it's disgusting, genuinely. So
I find that the mentality of it's just immaturity, I guess, and that was summed up by Anthony cupping his ears at the Coventry players after nearly losing from 3-0 ahead.
Ridiculous.
And you're cupping your ears to a second division side, like as if as if you've done something. Like, he came on and made the game worse for United.
Yeah. Credit to Maguire, who at least was respectful.
Yeah, Maguire and Fernandez were very respectful and very honest at the end of the game.
Yeah, that's how it's meant to be. That's how it should be.
Yeah, no, Maguire, thumbs up to that, to be honest. And I started to feel like I used to be I used to criticize him a lot, obviously. Right. Everybody did. But I think he's turned it around, and it's very respectable that with the bad performances and the criticism and being put out of the starting 11, he's managed to come back from that and be good again.
Absolutely. On the final point about Maguire, us and Bournemouth, we played Man United last week in that game where it was just United I'm not sure you saw the highlights, but United robbery in a way, basically, because of some horrible penalty decisions and stuff. And if we put away more of our chances in the first half, we could have won that game. But to be credited, the only player that actually I thought was really positive that game was Maguire, and he was very professional. You can tell he doesn't have the ability and the pace, but he actually was very defensively. In the second half, he was actually better, like blocking us down, but just more professional.
Yeah, I find he's been very professional, and he's been able to kind of work a bit on his positioning and his decision making a little more, which has improved drastically. I mean, yes, like you said, the pace is probably not there. The strength is there, the height is there, the aerial ability is there. But, I think he still needs to make a couple of step ups to be, that main England center back again.
I agree.
But he's definitely turned it around. But I think in general, apart from maybe him and maybe Fernandez gets a lot of criticism as well, I find. I do agree that I don't find it he's captain material, but he is a good player, and he doesn't deserve the criticism he gets.
No, and he tries. Look, in the Bournemouth game, even was he the best? I thought no, he scored 2 goals, but again, it's like not the it's easy quality chances. But he tries. I saw him actually in the game actually trying. It's night and day contrast with Rashford, who literally is just
Rashford, I'm done with, mate. I'm so
done with. And we gave him so much praise years ago. Remember when he was on fire? What I think disgusts me is that he just doesn't. It doesn't look like he cares. Like genuinely, like he goes out with this like great interview, and he's like, "Oh, like people question my commitment. But on the field, he literally runs for like 5 minutes, like actually trying to run, and he doesn't actually.
He's a lot of talk, but not a lot of walk right now.
And as a final, I want to make, and this is one thing that Ten Hag does deserve criticism for the game, keeping Rashford on for 90 minutes, but subbing out Garnacho, who actually who actually thoroughly tries, who actually really cares. Garnacho puts his heart and soul into every game. I see him running around continuously. And Rashford doesn't try. The same thing happened against Bournemouth, where Rashford doesn't try, he stays for 90 minutes, but Garnacho gets subbed off at halftime. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So that's on Ten Hag. I think, and like we're going to go more into Ten Hag now into roasting him. What I did want to say also was just that there's a lot of United fans who are saying that these kind of games show why it's a player issue rather than a manager issue. But the problem is that it's both. I see Mark Goldbridge and others saying, if we get rid of the manager, the cycle's going to repeat. I understand that criticism, but player power has already won. Ten Hag is still conceding to letting Rashford play for 90 minutes, letting Casemiro play for 90 minutes. All these players, he's allowing player power. So it's ludicrous.
I think it's just a bad scenario for both of the sides. You know, the players are very toxic from the fact that every single manager who's passed through this team since Sir Alex has left has been ousted.
Yeah.
And the thing is about Ten Hag is I find he is overestimating himself.
Definitely.
At this point. Like I said with the interview at the end, yes, he said we didn't play our best, but he said that very shortly, and then he was like, oh, but we can't forget the achievement, and that these boys got us here. And I saw a clip of Sir Alex. This is actually a great clip I saw on Reels of a comparison between Ten Hag and Sir Alex. Sir Alex, after a Scottish Cup final where Aberdeen won but played terribly, and the interviewer goes up to him on the field and asks him, hard game today, but you still got the cup final. You must be proud. And he was disgusted. He was disgusted with his team's performance. Disgusted. For anybody who wants to look at the clip, look up Aberdeen Sir Alex Cup final disappointment or whatever. But that just shows the difference in mentality. I think is that even if you win, winning is a good achievement, but in the moments you have to think, God, we're lucky, to get through this. And United were lucky.
100%. They were so lucky. I think one other thing I was going to say also, and I've seen takes about this online, but I actually do now agree with it. I've looked at United, especially two thorough games this past weekend and last weekend when they played Bournemouth. I genuinely believe, and I'm not just saying this, I think they are the worst coach team in the Premier League. And I genuinely mean that, and it's a hot take.
That's a statement.
Can I tell you why? I think there's, of course, managers that are worse than Ten Hag, of course, in the Premier League. I do think that in a way, of course. The reason I say the worst coach is because at least with Sheffield, at least with Burnley, I see identity. I see an attempt at tactics. Ten Hag looks lost right now and does not have a clue of how to set up the team. There is no clear tactical insight. There is no midfield control. At least even with those bottom-tiered clubs, there is some sense of identity. Whether they play good is definitely different, but I see some identity. It's a statement that I generally stand by. I think it's the worst coach team in the entire Premier League. There are worse coaches than him, yes, obviously, but this is the worst coach team in the Premier League, genuinely. I'm serious. I genuinely believe it.
I mean, I think you said it for all the Ten Hag haters out there. I think you said it. I think that's a good note to finish on with this game. I mean, we can bring back again for later because there's a related topic with the two games. Right. But I think now is a good time to move on after that crazy statement, which is probably true. I think let's try to doze down a bit and focus. I think we've said everything that needs to be said about that game, you know? And so to move on a little bit, I mean, I guess I could bring it up now. Is the Wan-Bissaka penalty a handball?
I think so.
That was,
I think so.
I think it is.
Yeah.
But then now going into the City, that's what I wanted to connect with. Is going to see Chelsea game. Is the Grealish handball a handball?
Yes, it is. It's just...
Absolutely, it is. I cannot believe that wasn't called.
I've noticed this trend also where I think I've noticed two trends. One, also, all the big six teams I've realized have had crucial VAR decisions go against them, but Man City never do. I realized this trend also, and
I mean, we'll wait and see what the FFP charge case brings. But I wonder if there's any, bribing charges at any point.
I agree.
I'm joking.
I know. We're joking. We don't actually. What
I don't actually think City is cheating.
No. What I did want to say though, because it's not City cheating. What I will say though, and you notice this trend also given the contrast of how the Wan-Bissaka handballs give the penalty, and also bringing in, like, let's say the forced penalty shouts in their game against Everton. Mm-hmm. I noticed this trend that VAR, when a referee, if VAR, I think, do not want to put the referees in a bad light. So therefore, the referee, the on-field decision was no handball for Grealish's thing. And so I think VAR, they don't want to make the referee seem like they made an awful mistake. If you know that, notice this, right? It's like normally, like, they don't, like, you know what I mean? They're not going to.
But that's the whole point of the VAR.
I agree. That's the problem. So,
well, I think we both agree that that's a handball, 100%. I don't care. But
I don't care.
I mean, that was later on in the game, and starting from the top. I think starting from the top, you could tell that City was still exhausted from Wednesday evening.
Definitely.
I mean, Kevin De Bruyne was red from the first minute on.
Yeah.
You know, poor guy. He looked like he was struggling.
Yeah.
And, Phil Foden looked like he was limping a little bit as well.
Yeah.
You know, these guys are having a crazy season, but they definitely seem very tired and exhausted on Saturday. And Chelsea should have capitalized.
Yep. And whose fault is that in this one?
Dare I say this name? Nicholas Jackson.
Yes. Your reaction.
This guy, man. Where to start?
This is one thing I realized about Jackson this season. As a winger, actually, he would be good because he actually is a solid dribbler and he actually is good at getting into space. His finishing is a problem.
I find he's a decent player if it's not for the finishing.
Exactly. That's what my point is. It's like literally he actually solid.
The thing is I dislike about this guy, apart from his finishing, is his attitude.
I agree with that.
The penalty scenario, for example, at the 6-0 thrashing.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you look like a child.
No, it's ridiculous.
And he's been doing that pretty often this season. Little like slaps of the hands and like grabbing the ball off of players and putting his face in other players' faces. And now he's done it with his own teammates. So I get he's passionate. I get he does contribute.
Definitely.
You know, I don't think people are like, oh, he's the worst striker in the Prem. He's not the worst striker in the Prem. No, nowhere close. But he does need to have a fix in attitude, and he needs to be more level-headed, I think.
Definitely. And it's just more composure. You just saw.
I mean, that initial one-on-one where I think it was who was it? Stones or Ruben Diaz who thought he was offside.
Oh yeah.
Didn't chase him. Bro, you've got to bury that.
Oh, 100%.
Even if you dribble around the keeper, I don't know why he's taking an extra touch there.
That's the thing. Composure. Just like put your laces.
Yeah, just use your left foot. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not. I mean, I'm not trying to criticize his his ability there, because I think he could have easily buried that.
Definitely.
He's done it in other games.
Yeah. And look, credit to Chelsea defensively. I thought they were really well set up. I thought Chalobah was really impressive. Cucurella had a really good game. I thought this is
I don't think Chelsea played a terrible game.
No, and look, you know how much I've been about Poch, and I still do think Poch should leave. But to be fair to him, nothing about the game was on him. He set up the team right. He gave them fluidity and they were defensively sound. He gave them one credit I will give to Poch over the whole season, which I've been noticing, especially recently, is he's really maximized the ability of Cole Palmer, I think, because he gives fluidity to go into besides the goal for on top of the amazing goal and assist record he has. The thing that you see if you look at Cole Palmer's heat maps for every single game is he literally followed it very, very free. And that's awesome by Poch, to be fair, to give him credit to him.
I think Cole Palmer was playing mostly as a winger when he came in, but now he's somewhat moved towards a 10.
Yeah.
And that obviously is a good move by Poch, but I think is obvious in terms of the contribution he's making to this team and his creative ability.
Definitely.
Which, I mean, normally Nkunku would probably play there.
Yeah.
But he's had a rough start to his Chelsea life.
Yeah.
So and I think Cole Palmer's at this point probably like I watch a lot of Bundesliga, doing a better job than maybe Nkunku would have done.
Probably, I agree. I genuinely think so, because I think it's just Nkunku. I really love as a player. I think
he's a great player. I think Nkunku is great, but Nkunku is more sort of like a false 9.
Yeah, exactly.
Which maybe he would have played there, but if he was playing in the 10, he's not always as efficient in terms of his contributions. So yeah, I think in general, Cole Palmer is obviously a star. Everything revolves around him. But that team didn't play that badly.
No. Look, and kudos to Poch and kudos to the team, because I thought that they played well. I think what I've also noticed, the reason I have criticism of Poch also is because if you notice this game, every game that Chelsea has, except for the Everton game, it always is competitive. And that's good if it's against Man City, but it's bad if it's against Sheffield and Burnley. And I think that's where it falls on Poch, without going too long into that Poch debate. But I guess my conclusion about this game in particular is that, besides just putting on Jackson, because Madueke also I think should have done better in all the instances.
I'm not the biggest fan of Madueke, if I'm being honest.
I'm guessing especially after the penalty incident against Everton as well.
I just find he's there's something about him that just I much prefer Mudryk.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Much prefer Mudryk.
I think Mudryk is more direct, almost in a way.
Madueke seems like he's over excessive at times. He has scored quite a few goals this season for somebody who's just started to come into the starting 11. But I find that Mudryk, if he gets given, I feel a bit annoyed that he doesn't get given more time.
He should be. You should be given more game time.
I think he should, and he can be quite direct and quite forward, or be used as a heavily efficient super sub.
100%. Oh, I think it'd be a great super sub, especially with speed.
Bro, this dude would ruin people in the 80th minute coming on fresh.
I agree.
That's all I'm saying. I don't know if he's the best finisher.
True.
But his speed and his dribbling ability is way up there for sure.
100%. I think a final note I just want to put on the game, looking at the Man City side, I think what Man City in this game just summed up is just what has also been evidenced, I think, also when it was 2 weekends ago when Liverpool and Arsenal both lost in the Prem. Man City just have this thing where they may not play always the prettiest football, they may not always be the most confident in terms of getting the wins done, but what they do have is just this added mentality, assuredness, and composure. And I think this against Chelsea.
Yeah, I also think their defense doesn't get as much credit as it deserves. It hasn't been as good as it should this season.
Yeah, well said.
But yesterday, Nicholas Jackson got a lot of chances, but in general, it was pretty clean out of the back. And I mean, Bernardo Silva and De Bruyne kind of carried them through that game. Foden as well. So, and I just feel like when they don't have that focal point in Holland, the game kind of gets more spread out.
Yeah, that's well put. That's a good point.
So it's a different type of game, and it's different focuses in the field of play. So, I think they definitely deserve to be in this final.
Right.
They didn't play their best game. City didn't play their best game. Chelsea played okay, but all in all, I think this is set up for a pretty fantastic Manchester derby in the final.
Will it be competitive? No, but
will it be competitive? Listen, we already went on a rant for 20 minutes about Man United in this episode.
Right.
So let's not repeat ourselves. But it is true that I don't see, if City is rested, since they're out of the Champions League, they will be. I don't see much of a chance for United. It just in general.
No, and look, I think United fans have also been resigned to that fact. They know as well. I think it's just, I think also on a final point, just to connect to the Coventry game, was just like, where I do place a lot of blame on Ten Hag, there was a little bit of substitutions, but also in the extra time game management of how Coventry were in the ascendancy, playing better, just getting in the spaces. And I think linking to the Man City final, I told you off camera, I think the only chance that United has to win this game is to score first. It's the only chance they have. But even if they score first, Ten Hag's game management, I think, will still inevitably leave them vulnerable to spacing and stuff.
Yeah.
So
I would be very surprised if City cannot exploit the space on the wings, especially in that game, and be able to come out with a pretty heavy-handed win.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be like a thrashing, like a 6-0. No. I think my guess is it's gonna be like a 3-0.
I mean, that would be embarrassing if it was a thrashing. It would be embarrassing. I would have, if I was a United fan, I would have preferred to let Coventry go to the final at that point. If I'm being honest.
Yeah, that's about.
If you go to the FA Cup final and you get thrashed like 5-0 or 6-0, it shows you didn't deserve to be there. It's as simple as that.
No, you're right. You're right.
But I don't think that will happen either. I think United will stay in the game for, a good chunk of it. But all in all, if the pressure does mount and they keep it 0-0, City's gonna have a lot of cards to play.
Yeah, definitely.
So, I mean, it's gonna be interesting FA Cup final. We're looking forward to it. I'm sure the rest of the viewers are too. And all in all, I think we can agree that this weekend wasn't the easiest to get through as a neutral fan, but it was very entertaining.
Extremely. That Coventry game, I'm never going to forget the game. That was amazing. So.
Beautiful game. Fantastic game. It's called the beautiful game for a reason. That showcases it. Sadly, if it would be even more beautiful if Coventry would have won. But that's how it is sometimes.
Definitely.
So, yeah. So that was our episode about the FA Cup weekend, FA Cup semifinals, and our prediction. Obvious choice for the final. And until then, we will get back to you with some more content on the footballing world.
We did. We'll see you guys soon.
See you guys soon. Thank you. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Yes, please.